I was experiencing extremely heavy bleeding. My husband would constantly want to go camping or something, and that's just not something that we could do.
Some discomfort, some urine leakage, things that just weren't pleasant.
The headaches, the back pain, the constipation, the bleeding just got progressively worse.
When I hit 40, I was bleeding, clotting. It was really affecting my quality of life.
I had polycystic ovarian syndrome. There's cysts on your ovaries. It's a syndrome with insulin resistance, increased hair growth, skin tags.
I was diagnosed then with heavy menorrhagic symptoms. I also had a prolapsed bladder I was having symptoms with that.
The cancer that I had, the endometrial cancer, was something that was very curable and very treatable.
Fibroids, but I've also had for 22 years endometriosis, and I've had ovarian cysts.
He came back and called me into his office and said, "You have cervical cancer."
They put me on the birth control pill to try to alleviate the bleeding. That didn't work.
She said, well, you know, besides the over 40 spiel, and she said, well, let's take some antidepressants. Let's try that. So it just didn't sit well with me.
Birth control pills, which was not for me because I have high blood pressure. They also offered the IUD, which they kind of said that might be my best option. They also offered the ablation. And they said, lastly, surgery could be an option.
I called a couple friends that had had hysterectomies, and a couple of them had had ablations and ultimately ended up having to have a hysterectomy in the long run. I needed a 100% guarantee that whatever procedure I decided was going to correct the situation that I was having.
And I was impressed with what I read. My mom's a nurse, my dad's a hospital pharmacist, so they talk to people they know in those hospitals. And everyone had excellent things to say about it.
There's no sutures. They're so small that they can be stir-stripped. And that was one of my primary things. The second reason was the recovery was so quick.
She said she was going to use this new technology with the robotic surgery. And she said I would only be in the hospital overnight. That did it for me right then and there.
The way he explained it to me was that if he did a traditional hysterectomy, that his face would still be at least 2 feet away from that incision. And with that advantage of the robotics, he could have magnifiers and everything right inside to where he can bring it right up to his face and make little, very precise precision cuts and everything so that my recovery time would be so much less.
A lot of my friends, their reaction was, a robot? Okay, you're going to have a robot working on you, and, you know, explaining to them, okay, you have the robot, but it's really the robot arms, you know, the surgeon is sitting behind the console.
She knows where her hands need to go and where they need to turn, and with the robot, she can get full movement and full motion, and she can get to places that she's always known, you know, it'd be great if I could get behind there, and with the robot, she's able to do that.
It's an incredible, amazing thing. Just the fact that I could get up a couple hours after surgery and walk the halls and, you know, doing different things, and the healing was so fast.
I was home within 24 hours and I was driving within a few days, and actually could have driven even sooner. But their mouths would drop open because they couldn't believe that I had recovered so quickly.
Had my son's 3rd birthday party with the works 4 days later. I was a little slow, but you know, I would still been in the hospital if I'd had a traditional hysterectomy.
What surprised me was how easy it was. It was so much easier of a recovery than having a C-section.
The recovery between robotic surgery and abdominal surgery, there's really no comparison. And as far as sexual activity goes, it's the same. And that was a concern of mine. So there really hasn't been a difference at all.
To see now, a year later, I'm 25 pounds lighter. I am more active now than I have ever been. I'm more involved with my children. We swim together, we cycle together. Even my daughter, she's like, Mama, I want to be active like you are when I'm your age. I'm like, so that's pretty good.
If anything, my biggest regret is that I didn't do this sooner.
I have realized how important it is to be proactive in your own health, and to be sure that you take a look at signs, that the warnings that they're given to you, that you do something about them, and you continue with your regularly scheduled tests that women need to have on a yearly basis.
If I had known then what I know now, I would have done it instantly. I would have never waited. I highly recommend it. It changed my life.